Habari ma Africa, asante kwa kutazama King Said So. Now the very viral interview of Julius Malema at JJ Tabane, Power to Truth, and there's so many things that Julius Malema said on that interview. Specifically, of course, all of us were interested to hear what is he going to say about Ndlozi, but JJ Tabane asked some relevant questions that I think that we must break down. Everybody wanted to hear what is Julius Malema standing on this Ndlozi situation, and it looks like he has not moved. It was interesting also for him to acknowledge the damage that the MK political party has done. He specifically says where the MK has gained numbers, the EFF has lost numbers. Gauteng, Mpumalanga and KwaZulu-Natal, and it's strategic that the MK political party must be defeated in those specific areas for the EFF to regain its population or the numbers that they have. So I want to speak about that. And also the old Julius Malema that I like spoke about Afrikaans, why Afrikaans is in our learners. Afrikaans is being used as a medium of communication still in South Africa right now. You've heard me complain many times that why did the youth of June 16, 1976 perish? What was it that they were perishing for if our children till today are still force-feed Afrikaans? Afrikaans. Let's talk about that and much more.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, Kagiso Hlongwane Zinjiva Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And this time around, we're speaking JJ Tabane, Professor. Is he a professor? JJ Tabane and Julius Malema at an interview at ENCA. It's been, I think, 5 years. The last time we have seen Julius Malema at this ENCA. He's been angry at them and been saying they are pushing some propaganda to attack the EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters, and they decided to boycott that platform, and now they are back because mainstream media at the end of the day still rules the day, and the podcast space is catching up quite at a rapid pace, but you cannot compete with mainstream media and DSTV right now, but the time will come. So for my fighters, those who don't want to hear someone critique the CIC, and in this specific video, actually I agree with less than 90% of the things that he said. When it comes to Dr. Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi, I will always disagree with what Julius Malema on how he's solving this issue of Dr. Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi. So if you are that person who get emotional on the comment section, bye-bye, we'll see you next time. But let's start with the CIC acknowledging that Jacob Zuma took some votes from, some voters from the EFF, especially in Gauteng, especially in Mpumalanga, especially, of course, in KwaZulu-Natal.
To that, but I want you to zone in on the MK. Basically, you are saying your problem was MK.
Yes.
MK has chowed your breakfast.
Absolutely. MK took from us in KZN, in Gauteng, where MK got, that's where the EFF votes have declined.
It's my impression that...
And in Mpumalanga.
Yeah, I've got two impressions you may correct. One is that you wanted Zuma to endorse EFF.
Yes.
He refused, he formed his own party.
Yes.
So immediately at that point, am I right to say you didn't think that he was going to propel to such a rapid upward trajectory? In other words, you assumed, right, that he will come in way below EFF, and then you'll be able to partner with them. So there was never a dismissal of MK as a potential partner.
Well, we knew
that
President Zuma is going to form a party after we persuaded him to endorse the EFF. Just imagine if President Zuma had endorsed the EFF, we will be very far, especially when he talks about this unity
of
political
progressive
parties,
forces.
you find a progressive party. And then you say, no, I'm going to form another party so that you close your party and join my party. No, we were not saying close anything. We were saying endorse. I even went beyond to say we can then sit down so that you address your concerns with me and say, you know, when you guys take over, the following issues need to be attended to. It was an honest discussion that me and him had.
So what went wrong? Because
no, nothing went wrong. His mind was made up.
In terms of
Forming a
endorsing.
party.
Yeah,
in terms of forming a party, his mind was made up. There was no one who was going to convince him. But one thing that you must all observe, and it's a very interesting thing, and I'm happy because I was part of it and I'm no longer part of it, and I can watch it from outside and I laugh at those who are supporting these nonsensical things. Go and look at the videos if you are lazy to read. Go and look at the videos of the people who were with Zuma from the beginning, from when he was accused of rape, from when we made him president. I even dropped a tear at the Union Building. And then subsequently, we didn't support him. We're saying Malema must be president and all of that. Look at all those people who supported Zuma under those circumstances. Not a single one of them is still with Zuma. So once he uses you, he throws you very far. But there is one person who's always by Zuma, and Zuma has never dropped this person. It's the daughter. Duduzile Zuma.
Yeah, well, suppose naturally.
It's not natural. How would it be natural between me and Ratana? That Ratana comes and run affairs of the EFF and we say it's natural. You're going to be the first one to talk about you. This is a family trust, Ratana trust, and all of that.
To that, but
you know, there's so much to dissect in that one video there, you know, acknowledging that the MK was their biggest problem. They took the voters. I mean, everybody can say that. The ANC can say that. The IFP can say that. Many black political parties can agree with it, what Julius Malema is saying. What was important to note here is that Julius Malema, you know, I'm not happy that he failed to convince Jacob Zuma to endorse the EFF. I understand he says, listen, the man already made up his mind. And I'm sure the reason that he made up his mind is because we don't know who funds the MK political party. We don't know who was working in the background to make sure that the MK political party actually stands. So maybe he was, you know, fighting a losing battle because, like he says, the man already made up his mind. And he sat down with him and said, man, endorse the EFF. And Jacob Zuma failed to do that, and of course, subsequently started his own political party. And what he said there, he said, if you've got any concerns about us, the EFF, allow us to sit down with you so that you can raise whatever concerns you have about me as a leader and about the EFF. I think that's another missed opportunity for Jacob Zuma. You know, I think under the radar of the EFF, Jacob Zuma was going to destroy this country in a good way. That is, with him endorsing the EFF, the EFF was going to get over 50%. I believe that. Remember, if he did that, the EFF was going to be in control of Mpumalanga, where because the MK party is the official opposition. They took Mpumalanga away from the EFF. The EFF was going to take KwaZulu Natal. The EFF was probably going to take Gauteng. Just imagine. And the EFF was going to take maybe even the Northwest. So those four provinces were going to fall under EFF if Jacob Zuma endorsed the economic freedom fighters, but he didn't, you know. So another thing that Julius Malema says, everybody that was there in the beginning supporting Jacob Zuma from the Red case till today are no longer there. I think who was the spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation, the former EFF MP. He's the guy that is always on Jacob Zuma's side. But it's quite interesting to observe, to say, who is there, really? Where is Ace Mahashula? Abo Supra Mahomapilo? Where are those people? Why are they not on Jacob Zuma's side today? It's a very interesting question to to rise and to look at. Maybe Duduzane is always there, Duduzile is always there, but that's family. I agree with JJ Dawan that's natural that she would stick with her father till the end. Let's talk about this issue of English and Afrikaans in our country.
They'll be knowing it by now because they know there's no any other option.
Yeah.
My son shows me today, what is the code of your driver's license? Or no, I've got learners. Okay, let me see. Then I read these learners things. I want to understand which code is this. They say C2 what? No, I don't understand this language. So, but I see other letters are written this side. Let me check what is written. Maybe it explains this. It's written in Afrikaans.
Yeah.
For what? Why is my son's lessons written in Afrikaans? Because when you give that child a lessons, already you asked that child, which language do you speak?
Yeah.
Are spade. If English, we have accepted this colonial language of English that is part of us, that's fine. But why do you give me Afrikaans and not give Afrikaans people spade? We have spoiled them so much that they don't even see the need to participate in nation building. We suck up to them. When it is their sports, rugby, we all rush there. But when it is our sports, we rush alone. We don't go with them. So we need to take very simple decisions that will make all South Africans to be one. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we cannot be one nation without one mission. We need to share the mission. We need to share the vision.
How would you make
together?
How would you make all the communities share that mission?
The way I'm doing it now to you, I'll make them understand because now you understand. So I'll make these communities to understand because the white minority does not want people who speak in folk tongues.
Yeah.
You have to be very clear, and that's where capital as well.
Yeah.
The second point, which was going to help us build a nation, is to democratize the economy.
Yeah.
The ownership of the means of production and the ownership of the South African economy should look the same way Parliament of South Africa looks. If that parliament is a reflection of democracy, the economy must look like that.
Is there something in
Johannesburg Stock Exchange must look like our parliament. Because for as long as they have more money and more property, it's natural that we are going to submit to them. We ought to empower.
When I say I love Julius Malema, this is the Julius Malema I'm talking about. This Julius Malema who understands, like, who is angered by where our country is, 31 years later after democracy. This is the Julius Malema I love. And I've got the same attitude towards Afrikaans. To say, I don't know why my child is learning Afrikaans. I really don't know. I don't know why is it that this 8% still controls the 90% of South Africans. I don't understand. I don't get it. They put it everywhere. You go into government official communication papers and everything, you'll see English and Afrikaans. And Tina, we are force-fed these Afrikaans, Tina Bantabamnyam. So it gets to that point where Julius is saying, we have spoiled these people. I say the ANC has opened a tolerance of nonsense to us black people to such an extent that it doesn't matter anymore. We say it every year. Why is it that our children is learning Afrikaans, but nobody really stands up and does something about it? Because it can change overnight. It's not like in varsity. In primary schools and everywhere, it can change overnight. The problem with black people, if you say, let's unite like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger and decide on one language, decide on one currency, decide on one passport, decide. If you say, South Africans, let us teach our children Kiswahili, South Africans will have a problem. They will choose Kiswahili, they will choose Afrikaans over Kiswahili. They will say, no, Swahili is a language that we don't understand. Nobody speaks Swahili in South Africa, blah, blah, blah. But in the unity of Africans, South Africans will say no to that. They'll say, why don't we speak Zulu? Why don't we speak Xhosa? Why don't we, you understand? They won't view it in an African sense. They will view it here. And once you say Zulu, then the vendors have got a problem. Then the Sutus have got a problem with Zulu. Then we are fighting. Then that is why we find ourselves, submitting to Africans, even though it is not forced. It's not apartheid anymore. Because of the hate we have for one another, we are finding ourselves, our children are doing Africans. If you are Pedi and the area where you are is a Zulu area and your child must learn Zulu, it is only advantageous for your child to learn Zulu. Because what advantages are there to learn Afrikaans? You are not going to speak Afrikaans outside South Africa. You guys understand what I'm saying? So, Julius Malema says the nation must have one mission. We can't have one mission with the African and our colonizers. Those people's mission is totally different. It's wishful thinking to think that South Africans can sit down and have one mission with coloreds, blacks and Indians and Chinese and whites. All of us want the same thing. It will never happen. Take your black people and ask them what is it that they want and work with your black people. Don't try to include everyone. The Rainbow Nation does not exist, people. But anyways, nobody's going to listen to what King says or is saying. Julius Malema says we must democratize the economy, meaning we must, the way a parliament looks, that's how our economy must look. That's something that we are wishing for as Pan-Africanists. When you say who is the richest man in Africa, which is right now is Johan Rupert, it's not a reflection of the population of Africa, which majority is black. Why is it that this guy, who is a colonizer settler here in our land, is the one who's the richest? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? In South Africa, it's even worse. Let's not even go there. If you go to the richest people in South Africa, you find one black person here and there, about Patrick, about, this artificial richness that they have. So the problem with what Julius was saying is that, and Dr. Uma Ifatunda said it properly, the problem with us black people, we chase after money and white people chase after power. That is why they are not in government, but they influence in government. That is why they are not in the IEC, but they influence in the IEC. Power over money. Okay, let's get into the issue of Dr. Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi, and let's quickly listen to what Julius Malema said about, the great doctor.
You're saying Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi has resigned from parliament. I got that when I was outside the country on holiday with my wife. When the SG sent it to me, I never had any.
But what's the on Mbuyiseni?
Yeah, so you can't ask me why did he resign, because I never had that discussion with
What was the backstory of him not being at the NPA? Just take us into your confidence today.
But again, you're unfair to me. I told you I was inspecting the learner's license of my son. My oldest son is 18. That's what I'm responsible for, about whereabouts. Yesterday when he passed matric, he said they are going to Kilimanjaro or Manjaro, what in Soweto there. God, I'm going with you. And then the whole thing flopped because they were like, what is this old man going to do with? God, I'm also saying, I'm not responsible for Mbuyiseni in those. I'm not his father. Not his father. Where he was, what was he doing?
On this one,
I don't know.
On this one, I think you're obfuscating because surely with the kind of organization you are running a tight ship. Let's be frank. You are not running a Mickey Mouse thing. This is a massive organization with 1 million members. Right? And it could be understandable if there was some just ordinary loose member who didn't pitch up for or who was not a delegate. Right? But here you're talking about somebody you have promoted. Just recently, you are pitting him against Panyaza Lusufi, making fun of Panyaza Lusufi. This is incomparable.
You can't compare even now. Even now.
Yeah.
if you
So I
if-
can't-
if-
I can't be
if-
convinced.
If you
Yeah.
want to question me about the qualities of leadership,
Yeah.
let's debate that, not his whereabouts.
No, I want to debate that
Ya hore na le kae?
you are not worried about.
Ah,
Yeah, but
ke tsena kae nna?
why would you not be worried?
I'm not.
Why?
Stage is felage. O se bone stage se lo
No,
ka
I'm not- I'm not
stage
convinced.
o ka re sa UN o se bone ka NPA se
Yeah.
felage. Dilo di le mo.
Yeah.
maemong
So you're
a
not
hodimo.
worried that he didn't know where
the
he
leadership
was.
of the EFF, which was supposed to be there, was there.
Yeah.
So why must I worry?
So he wasn't told not to come to the NPA.
No, there's no such a communication.
He just voluntarily didn't come. So we need to ask him.
You ask him. I don't know.
You
Ask
have
him.
no idea even now.
No, I'm not even interested.
But you have a good relationship with him.
no,
When
no,
I
no, no,
was-
no, 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 no.
You don't.
No, no, it ended at that time. We were members.
Was he a victim of Floyd leaving? Let me ask it that way.
Ask him if he's a victim. How do I say someone is a victim? I don't know if he's a victim. I never spoke to Mbuyiseni Ndlozi before the NPA.
Yeah.
I never spoke to Mbuyiseni Ndlozi after the NPA. So I don't know his mind as to how is he thinking.
Disappointing, emotionally immature is the only way I can describe how the CIC speaks about Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. It's very disappointing. And I know many fighters, they agree with what I'm saying. Obviously, as an economic freedom fighter member in good standing, you can't say what I'm saying. So some of us who are not members of the party will say it. But I've heard even some of the fighters say this on the comment section to say, hey King, I'm a fighter, but I'm disappointed with the way the CIC is dealing with this Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi situation. You know, for him, he brushes it out. He starts by saying, no, listen, I got that news from the Secretary General that Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, resigned from Parliament, as if he's not part. As if him as the president had no influence over that. It's like as if we know if you are not in the CCT, you cannot be in Parliament. I mean, what are you doing there? Who put you there as a leader of a political party if you are not, in the CCT? And now he's acting as if, no, I don't know. I've got a son who's 18 years old. That's the person I am responsible when it comes to whereabouts. If you want to ask me whereabouts, ask me about my son. I don't know where Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is. And that's why I said the fighters must not cry, because there is going to be a podcast that is going to catch Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. There is going to be time where Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is going to talk. It's not, this month will not finish before Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi leaves the EFF. Because now he's been made a joke. People are thinking, but why are you staying? This guy does not want you there. What is it that you are still doing in this political party where the president does not even talk to you? He's not. He says, "I'm not his father." Very insensitive to say that by the CIC. Very emotional, immature, like I said, for him to say that. If you say, "I'm responsible to my son," that's who I must know about whereabouts. You are done. You have said, I'm not Dr. Mbuyiseni's father, without saying those words, by mentioning your son. You understand? If you understand the communication skills, if that's what you're saying about your son, we can automatically conclude he is saying he's responsible to his son because he's the father. Automatically, it means he's not Dr. Mbuyiseni's father. But for him to say that, and when he says he didn't know why he didn't come to the National People's Assembly, JJ Tabari says, but I don't believe you. That I cannot believe that, because you are running an organization. This is not a tuck shop. Clearly, you guys have a communication to say, hey, Dr. Ugupi, this is your party. This is your party, Julius Malema. For you to come out and say, no, listen, I don't know. I didn't care. Everyone was supposed to be there, was there. The stage was full. The leaders were elected or selected. We are happy. He says, don't ask me about that guy's whereabouts. Go and ask him. And that go and ask him is a permission for Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi to start talking. Because every journalist that is going to get hold of Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is saying, the CIC said we must ask you. So you tell us now. What are you saying? Where were you? Why are you confusing the fighters like this? What is your problem? Why is the CIC not even talking to you? Why is he saying your relationship ended at that time when you did not tell him that Floyd Shivambu was going? You know, what was the beginning? Tell us your part, your side. What is it? What is the problem with you and Julius Malema, you know? And for him to say we don't have a good relationship, he says we don't have a good relationship. The relationship ended there, and there it means when Floyd Shivambu left. You know, it's so heartbreaking to hear the CIC say that. For us, the people who love Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, and of course, I don't pretend I'm biased towards Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi because I think he's one of the best politicians ever to set foot there in the EFF. But also, they don't tell us exactly what is it that he did wrong. You know, that is something that that is boring. The CIC does not come out straight and say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know. It keeps on, and the CIC will never be able to avoid this question up until Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi goes. You know, he will always be asked about Ndlozi. Everyone wants to know, because these journalists, they will ask the Ndlozi question differently every time. You know, so I think what gave it away for me that Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is going to resign from the EFF was when the CIC said, I never spoke to him before the NPA and I never spoke to him after. I understand the after, because the after is 1 month later. The NPA was last month on the 15th. Now we are on the 15th. But the before is the part that I don't understand. The before. It's like I never spoke to him. So, as Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, September, we're out here to talk, with politics, but why remain in a political party where even the leader says he does not talk to you? What type of abuse do you want to endure? How long do you want to still endure this abuse from the CIC? He's telling you indirectly to say go. He does not talk to you. And I think if we have to be honest, this is the first time we heard that Julius Malema does not talk to another fellow fighter. This is the first time that we are hearing it. In fact, this is the first time that we are hearing it from any political party. That Fikile Mbalula does not speak to, let me not make an example about Fikile. That Cyril Ramaphosa does not speak to Panyaza. You guys understand what I'm trying to, the comparison I'm trying to bring. It's very, very crazy to hear that he never spoke to him before the NPA and after the NPA. So they never spoke. So they are not friends. He does not want him in his party. It's time for Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi to go. I don't know if you guys will agree or not with that, but I think it's time for him to grow. To go, not to grow, but also to grow. You'll never know. But I we all wish that he stays in politics. So that is my 2 cents according to the interview of JJ Tabane. Always enjoy JJ Tabane. I wish that he can move to the podcast world, because I'm telling you, he's going to make more money in the podcast world, and he's going to, at times, the podcast world is going to take over mainstream media. I wish also Dr. Because he's one person that does not buy face, JJ. So I love him so much, and I enjoy watching him. I watch him on the phone because some of us don't have DSTV, and I wish also the CIC and Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi all the best for the future endeavors. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray, but after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace, Pan-Africanism. I salute you.